Okay.
Yes.
My name is Mary Schulten. I worked on the 2 murals that have mosaics in them, the one by Granite Street by the parking garage.
Right.
And the one at the library.
Right.
I did the mosaic part of both of those. And I had several people that helped me, but I supervised it, worked with the design and everything. And Christian came to see me before she started this and asked me several questions. And I was working on several other projects, so I couldn't really actually be part of doing it, but I gave her a lot of advice. And like the drawing there, it has the big tiles. The big tiles are much easier to pull off. They're much more susceptible to cracking. And the one thing I told her is you want, especially because it's a round area, it has to be small pieces if it's going to last. There's a large installation in Kit Carson Park in Escondido, where I used to live before my husband and I moved here. We lived just north of there. And it was done by Nikki de la Sainte-Filette, who's was a wonderful mosaic artist. She has since died, and she did it as a gift to the San Diego County for various reasons and paid for it all. And it's about an acre. And you walk into this kind of wrapping coil snake that even in the largest tiles were like 4x4s. And even those, when she put them on, she cracked them so they would spread. And that way, they could affix to the round surface.
Mm-hmm.
You put one big tile like that on, it's not going to fix, you're going to have more sharp edges, and it just can't work that way.
But do you understand that to look at this?
Yeah.
I hear what you're saying.
Yeah.
But these are plain tiles. These
Yeah.
are plain tiles.
And so it is the artistic content that you're really having the issue
What
with,
I'm
not
having
the
an issue with
structure.
is this is not what was submitted.
And
No,
what we're
but-
trying to explain is that that wasn't submitted as a final plan. And like you said, you dropped the ball on that, and we understand. But now that this piece of art is here, can we do so that we can preserve it? Because all I can say is that on Monday morning, I was asked to take down the prayer flags and the Buddha from the bench, and the parks had said that they were going to defend me and work as best with me as they could to keep this piece of art here. By Tuesday morning, Joe Baines was saying we need to tear the whole bench down. So I know that this isn't an issue of plans or whatever, because I've been given so many excuses as to why we need to tear the bench down and why we need to replace the tiles. And the reasons keep on changing. And like I said, I have this email from Joe Baines that explains his exact problems with the bench. I addressed all those issues, and now more are coming up. And if we address your issues, more are just going to keep coming
No,
up.
we're done with the issues, because it's not a matter of height and all that kind of thing. It's a matter that it doesn't match the drawing that was submitted. That's my only issue with this. This is not what I would have signed off on this. This is not what we got. That's it. That's my only issue.
So essentially, your issue is the bureaucracy of the bench.
I don't believe that's what I said.
Well, you said it's
I'm looking
not
at
this.
a drawing,
It's not-
and it's
it's-
not this drawing. That's my only issue.
Were you asked to sign off on anything?
No, and that's my employee staff. I got an issue with my employees on that level. So I can only apologize to you that didn't get brought to my attention, so that we wouldn't be here now.
Okay,
I know
but
a
now
lot of
it
work went into
exists.
this.
That's what we're saying. Now it exists. It's a piece of art that was created by just all sorts of members of the community, and it exists. And are you saying that if she submits this paperwork, that one of the options of your decision is to destroy it?
Well, or just remove it as best we can, and it can go, at another location.
Well, it's
perhaps.
made with sandbags and cement. How are you going to remove it?
I don't know. I don't know the structure.
Yeah.
Well,
I
we
mean,
just told you. I mean, it's sandbags
Okay,
and
I
cement.
don't know how. I don't have a plan formed on how we
Yeah.
can
And we
remove
can
it.
show you exactly how it was
Yeah.
done. I mean, sandbags.
I mean, one of the things I think that Prescott really needs to consider, and I know, and again, not doing things right, not getting the right permits, even though she was misled, and,
No argument. Yeah.
But it didn't happen, and what we're looking for now is a way to
Preserve
maybe
this.
backtrack and go from there. And there's so many people that just can't wait to put this on the net and take it viral and give Prescott another black eye, just
Yeah.
like we got with the Miller.
Exactly.
And we don't want that. I mean, we just had the Bass Fest, which I was involved with, and it was like the perfect Chamber of Commerce event.
Right. Right.
Everybody got such a positive impression of Prescott.
Right.
And I think anything we can do to keep that impression positive
But
is what we need to do.
I couldn't agree
Yeah.
with you more. However, this isn't going to get us there. Because as you just said, there are people out there waiting to take this on for their cause, which has nothing to do with you. But because of the fact that, again, beauty's in the eye of the beholder, and that not everyone is on board with this bench, that's why I wouldn't have signed off on an artistic kind of approach. I would always, I'm sure all of you walked our trails. you see the benches that are in memoriam, you know, the people go, there's a little plaque on there. We will take those every day of the week. They're traditional benches that don't spark controversy. That I will sign off on those every day of the week.
So the issue on this is this controversy that the actual images on the bench are sparking. That's what your real issue is.
I would sign off on this bench every day of the week. I would
Okay.
not sign off on this. It's just that simple.
And because of the images?
There's no, I'm not even gonna, that's all I'm gonna say, is that this
Because-
bench I'm okay
because-
with. This is what we're okay with putting into a public park to avoid all this kind of, you know, we just,
Of the images on the park?
it's just a functional bench.
I
and
see no compromise coming up at all. I see no
Yeah.
compromising. your
Well-
results
I
on
see
that.
going through the next step that we were suggesting here, okay, is taking pictures of what we have on there already, and it's got to go through the process that you're suggesting, which is a totally different process than
Right.
just signing off on that bench.
Right.
Okay.
right.
So I think, so basically, we want to preserve this bench. And so we think that the art on it is important because it was done by people with absolutely no agenda. You know,
I don't disagree.
Yeah, so
I understand.
So our goal here, the five of us, is to preserve this like piece of public artwork done by the public that inadvertently became, and so now it exists. It's already there, and so what can we do? I mean, can you help us to do that?
Again, I would sign off on this bench.
Right, we
I would
understand
not,
that,
I
but
would
we're-
not sign off on this bench.
So you're saying there's nothing that we can do to preserve this
I'm-
piece of art by going through
As
the
it
proper
is.
channels?
No, I'm sorry, there's not.
Okay.
Okay.
That's what we wanted to know because we want to know what we can do to preserve this bench.
But let me ask you this now, you wouldn't sign off on it, but it does have to go through that process?
Well,
Or does it go, if it doesn't go past you, it doesn't go to that process?
right, this would, with the parks, something like this would be the inroad, just like the preservation committee with the historic buildings, and that's kind of that's where the ball would stop with them. The ball would stop with me.
I see.
And I appreciate you filling out the form, because really, again, this is something that should have been in effect, because we have a lot of folks that want to do kind things and make donations, and the last thing I want to do is waste their time and their efforts and make them feel like it wasn't valued. That's not my goal at all, ever. And that's why I'm very sorry that from the very beginning you were misled, because I know that's going to be the end result, but I hate that for you. I'm very sorry about that. Your efforts were appreciated. It's just that
But the end result
had
is
this gone through the process.
you see the end result as having to remove the bench.
Well,
Is that what you're
if
saying?
we'd gone through the process and this had come before me, yes, I would have signed off on this. No, I would not.
You would not have signed off
No,
on the
I would not.
bench. So if she did submit the process, you would not sign off on the bench, and then it would be destroyed.
To preserve it as
I
it
just
is.
wish I would have kept her from wasting her efforts. That's what I
But
feel
it's
bad
already
about.
existing now. We're
But
talking about what's
I
happening
understand.
now.
I understand, but it's not something I approve. I just don't.
You don't approve of the bench.
I approve this bench.
As it is
Right.
now.
Well, that's-
You didn't
Yeah,
even
but that's-
approve that bench.
No other
But you're
drawings
s-
were submitted, and I understand it was a verbal thing, but along the way, as the plan was formulated, another plan had been, if another drawing had been submitted, and if we'd been following the process that should have been in place.
So you
I
never
would've
even
stopped
saw
it.
the drawing that you're saying you approved of. You never
No.
even saw that
She's
drawing.
saying she would have approved of it.
If
But
she
she
saw it.
didn't see that drawing at all, so it's
No.
kind of a moot point to me.
But if you'd done what this said, we wouldn't be sitting here. We'd have a bench out there. This is not what, I would have
We
signed
already
off on
have the
this.
bench sitting out there.
Yeah, the bench is out there.
My
We'd have this
understanding
bench
of what's
sitting out
going
there.
on is that city council didn't need to approve of this, and that, so what you're saying is that you never got any drawing or had any knowledge that a bench was being built in the park.
That's correct. And again, this is just some odd factors that went on, that I was on loan over here, I wasn't in the department, and I'm sure that they, normally benches, like I say, with the traditional kind you'll see out on a path, those don't have to be brought to my attention, and I'm sure that they thought, when originally saw this would be something that would be fine with me,
But they
should
saw
have still
the
brought it to my
process
attention.
the whole time.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you first
They,
about.
they saw the process the whole time.
They just didn't have the authority.
Okay, but now the bench exists. It has become a piece of art created by actual community members. And what I'm saying is, if she submits the proposal, what you're saying is, as the bench stands now, you would not approve of it, which would mean its removal or its destruction. Is that correct?
That's what I'm saying, yes.
Okay,
That's
that's
all.
what we needed to know.
Now, we can help with any, first of all, we're hoping if you want to try to revert to the original, something that's more along the lines of this, and we can put this on hold. If you don't, and you want to keep it intact, the staff can help you as best they can in keeping this as intact as possible for another perhaps location.